morning, everyone. I know y'all know me, but in my next life, I'm a pastor, a preacher. So you got to talk back to me. All right. So good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We've come today to celebrate the life of father, husband, friend, coach, just all around good person, Dave Miller. So if you can just do me one favor, because I think oftentimes we have it backwards in this kind of context, and that is we're supposed to really cry when people come into the world and celebrate when they leave this world. And so if you can do me one favor, if you can just rise to your feet and clap your hands for Coach Dave Miller for the life of he lived. Gracious God, we come today, Lord, to celebrate life. Life that was well lived and nurtured and that gave so much to so many people. Today we are all the more better for his life and for his legacy and for his impact, for all that he has meant to so many people. So God, we pray that you would be a comfort to the family, that you would strengthen them, that you would wrap your loving arms around them this day and the days ahead. God, we thank you for this broader community who are gathered here today to express their love, their admiration, their support, and also their prayers. We ask all this in Christ's name. Amen. Right now I'm in a different place. Though we seem apart, I'm closer than I ever was. I'm there inside your heart. I'm with you when you greet each day, and while the sun shines bright, I'm there to share the sunsets too. I'm with you every night. I'm with you when the times are good, to share a laugh or two. And if a tear should start to fall, I'll still be there for you. And when that day arrives, that we no longer are apart, I'll smile and hold you close to me forever in my heart. We will now have tributes and reflections in this respective order. Coach Chris Fite from Shippensburg University, Dave Annenhauser, Mike Mummer, Susan House Pardo, and yours truly in that order.
Thanks, Chef. It's a sad day, but I'm honored to be up here to celebrate Coach Miller's life. I met Coach when I was an assistant at IUP. He was the head coach at Frederick Community College, and we were recruiting some of his players at the time, and we developed a relationship through that process. And we happened to bump into each other at Hagerstown Community College at the JUCO regional finals one time, and we were catching up, and he filled me in on what was going on with him, and he had informed me that he had made the decision to retire from coaching from Frederick. And I was filling in about my family and what we had going on. I told him that I was in the process of interviewing for the head job at Shippensburg University, and he said to me, Coach, you know, I'm going to have a lot of time on my hands. And if you happen to get that job at Ship and you want some help, give me a call. And I'm not really sure he thought I would follow through with that, but I got the job, and the very first thing I did was call Coach Dave Miller. Okay, and that was the first decision I made as a head coach, and it was one of the best decisions I made. And he's been a great friend, a mentor. And I really feel fortunate to have had him in my life. But fast forward 13 years now, and there haven't been many days since then that Dave and I haven't either called or texted one another. And it really got to the point, at one point where Lois joked with my wife and she referred to me as Dave's mistress. But we would talk about anything. We talked round and round in circles. Most of the time we didn't get anywhere with it. Every once in a while we came up with a good idea, but those were few and far between. But as a coach, you just like to hash it out and verbalize it. And my wife and daughter would roll their eyes and we'd be rambling on the phone, but it was productive for us. And most of the time when we ended up back where we started or at a dead end, he would say, "It'll work itself out, Coach, it always does." And he was right. Things often seem to work themselves out, okay? But recently, we had one of those conversations, and he happened to be in the car with Lois, and they were on their way to yet another funeral. And I say yet another funeral because it seems like in the last few years, he'd been going to a lot of funerals. And I commented to him, and he was like, "Coach, you know, when you've been in the business as long as I have, and you coached as many people as I have, it's just the way it is. You end up going to more funerals than you do weddings and fun things at this point in life." And but during that conversation, and Lois, you might remember this, he said to me, "Coach, when my time comes, I don't want people to cry for me." He said, "Apart from winning the national championship, I've done everything I could have possibly wanted to do in my life." And he went on to refer to his family and his basketball accomplishments and his travels, and he just talked about how content he was. And he said, "I want people to be happy for me." Okay, and I've struggled with that this past week because I know what his wish was, but I'm so sad. You know, I'm sad that we won't have those phone calls anymore. And I'm sad that we won't have them on the sideline and in the locker room. And I'm sad that I lost a great friend. But what I'd like us to do today is to try our best to honor Coach's wishes and to be happy for him as we celebrate the amazing life that he lived. When you get into coaching, you ultimately, or when you make the decision to get into coaching, you ultimately want to become a head coach and run your own program. And if you're fortunate enough to do that, you immediately want to win as many games as you can and try and win championships. But it doesn't take long to realize that as equally as important is the opportunity that you have to make a difference and to have an impact on young people's lives. And when you look at Coach's career, he coached almost 60 years, he won over 700 games, he won championships, he's in multiple Hall of Fames. I mean, he ticked all those boxes big time. And he made a difference. I'm sure most of you in here, he's made a difference in your lives. He certainly has made a difference in my life and Coach Gamby's life and the lives of the students at Shippensburg. And as far as having an impact, you can just look around you here or be at any of the viewings, the amount of people that have come out to pay their respects to him. There's not a lot of coaches or people that would have that many people wanting to come out and show their respect. And I think that speaks to Coach's life. Another great example of the impact that he had on people and on his community is if you would have been able to witness him walking into a packed Frederick High School basketball game or a packed Walkersville High School basketball game and just see the amount of people that come up to him with genuine love and appreciation, and they dap him up and give him a hug, and he meets them with that smile and that voice and this beautiful spirit, and he engages them, and just nothing but love and honesty and kindness. And that's Coach in a nutshell. He was kind and loving and genuine, and people respected and loved that about him. To his direct family, you guys don't need me to tell you this, but Ryan, Tina, Bryce, Jordan, he was so proud of you guys, and he talked about you all the time. Lois, he loved you so much. You guys have an amazing family. And just on behalf of myself, my family, and the Shippensburg basketball family, I want to thank you guys for sharing your husband, your dad, your grandpa with us over these years. We feel extremely fortunate to have had the time with him that we did, and we thank you for that. And Coach Miller, I know you're listening, I know you're gonna be keeping an eye on us, but I just want you to know how much we'll always love and appreciate you. We're sad, we're gonna miss you dearly, but today, we're so happy for you. We're so happy to celebrate the amazing life that you lived. And we're so happy that we could just share in a small part of that with you. I feel like our lives are all better for having had him in it. So, we love you, Coach. Rest in peace. Thank you.
Coach, that was terrific. I had to write it down because I couldn't do what you just did. I apologize in advance if I stop and walk away. It is a happy day. But I hope I get through it. It's an honor to stand here today and talk about our friend Dave Miller. Yes, I said friend, but he was so much more than that to all of us. For Lois, he was a beloved, dedicated husband. For Brian and his family, he was a loving and wonderful father and a grandfather. To others, as Derek mentioned earlier, he was an uncle, a mentor, a teacher, a teammate, a Hall of Famer, a golf partner, and a tenacious competitor. And to thousands, including many people in this room, he was simply Coach. Coach is a 5-letter word with a very strong meaning. Unlike many of you here today, I was never coached by Dave on the basketball court. I never played for him at Bullsville or at Walkersville, or ever had the opportunity to play for him at FCC or at Shippensburg. Heck, he wouldn't even wanted me on the court. I was probably the worst athlete in the history of Frederick County. Yet Dave was my coach. My story is likely similar to many of you today. Dave was more than my friend. He was my life coach. He was the person who guided me through rough times and was also there for the good ones. I met Coach, I think I skipped a page, I'm sorry. I first met David in the winter of 1980, when I was in my first year as a sports reporter at the Frederick News Post. One of my early assignments was to cover a Catoctin High School game at Bullsville. Now, Catoctin rolled to like a 20-point lead, and I was a Catoctin alum, just FYI. Then the second half came, and Bullsville rallied miraculously, I still think with a lot of help from the Montgomery County officials, and beat Catoctin. After the game, I interviewed David, one of my very first interviews as a young sports reporter. I expected to meet an arrogant, rash coach whose team had just won, a remarkable win. It turned out to be quite a different interview. I met a coach who was more interested in a young reporter than he was the game. He asked me more questions, I think, than I asked him. It was the first of many life lessons he taught me. I just didn't realize it at the time. David's top priority in life wasn't basketball. It was the people in his life. He was an amazing communicator, an amazing team builder, and even more amazing at building relationships. Those translated into skills that helped me in my long journalism career, and certainly as a parent. And Lois's Coach White, crazy, loving persona was a perfect compliment. Honestly, I don't know of a better team that I've ever met in my life, on the court, on the field, anywhere, than Lois and Dave. They were an incredible team. Our relationship quickly evolved past the usual coach-reporter relationship. He connected with me in ways my own father never did. He and Lois were rocks and the stabilizing force when I was a weepy mess, I like today, when my first marriage fell apart. They both helped build me up, teaching me that there were lessons to be learned and brighter days ahead, and they were right. They were over the moon happy when I met Maura, my wonderful wife. Lois, I'm sorry that Maura's not here today. She sends her love and condolences to you and your family. David was then the person I confided and sought advice when I made the decision 30 years ago to move away from Frederick County. I wanted to chase my dream of becoming the sports editor on the nation's largest stage. I remember sitting with David, I think she was actually in his van one day, and we were just going over the pros and cons of leaving home and leaving Maryland. He was so supportive. So I left with Maura, obviously. Although we were often several time zones away, I remained in touch with David. We would share life updates, births of my children, births of his grandchildren. In 2019, I reached the pinnacle of my career when I became the sports editor of USA Today. One of my first calls was to David. He may have been happier than I was, partly because he knew that Maura and I would be moving to Bethany Beach, and we'd get the opportunity to see them more often. Span ahead a couple of years. Earlier this year, David and I played a round of golf. It's actually the first time we'd ever been together playing competitively on any kind of sports. And he actually told me I didn't do too bad, which is the greatest golf in the world. During the round, we talked so much about life, about his grandchildren, about my children, and my now 2 grandchildren. We talked very, very little about basketball. After all, he was my life coach. And now we must all navigate life's challenges without David, our coach. I challenge each and every one of you to take Dave's life lessons and pass them along to your loved ones. I know I will, and I hope you will too. May God bless Lois, Brian, their loving families, and each of you. Thank you.
A guard, not a center there, Coach. There will be a lot of common threads here. Probably sound like we all got together and wrote the same things. The number of people here who are attending and the number of people at yesterday's visitation is surely a testament to the impactful life that Dave Miller lived. He was my best friend, my mentor, my second father. And now I'm not the only person in this room that feels that way. Dave took me under his wing when I met him in the summer of 1983, and he never released me. He was a dedicated, loyal, kind, generous, loving friend, teacher, and coach. Coaching was his passion, and many of you are here today because of how he's coached you not only in basketball, but in life's important moments. I myself am a testament to the wisdom and knowledge he had to share. His dedication to his passion is admirable. In fact, my last conversation with him, he shared his plans to attend the ship game being played today. Many of my cherished moments are with him involved coaching, especially on our scouting trips, in his tricked out blue and silver van, and we had to stop for many big gulps and corn nuts. I feel that maybe the Lord recruited Dave because he needed an angel to help teach and coach in heaven. If only we could all follow Dave's lead to live a life that has such an amazing influence on others. His gift was his ability to make everyone feel special and to lead them to achieve to their best, and along the way to establish countless lifelong friendships. I'm going to miss the time to share with my buddy Dave. Golfing, he always had crackers, a granola bar, and a water ready for me. And I always finished around with more golf balls than I started with. Dave would stop at every water hole on the course, get his ball retriever out, and fish me a bunch of extra balls to take home. Just one more example of how he was always looking out for me. I'd like to share a poem. It sums up my friendship with Dave. It's called One True Friend. As I stop to count my blessings, there's one thing which rings true. I'll always be so grateful for the friend I found in you. Grateful for the special times we've shared throughout the years, times that brought us closer through our laughter and our tears. Grateful just to have someone as kind and good as you. To share our finest moments with, and to share our sorrows too. When I look upon my life, what matters in the end is that I was really lucky to find one true, faithful friend. Dave's last words for me: don't worry, Mike. I'm going to be okay. I know you're okay, Dave, but I sure do miss you. So cheers to my good buddy Dave.
Good morning. That was a little bit better, Shaq, right? You're getting there. I'm so very honored to share some thoughts today about Coach Miller. And like Coach Mummert said, I think we kind of all got together on the same page. A man who has impacted my life and the lives of my family. Today, Coach Miller leaves us with one final lesson, a lesson about time. Many of us here today are in the third, maybe yet the fourth quarter of our lives. And if there's one thing Coach understood, it's that time is the most important thing that we have. You can't save it, you can't get it back, and you really never know how much time is left on the clock. Over the last few days, many of us have been sitting in disbelief. A pillar, a coach, a man who meant so much to so many is suddenly gone. And yet, even now, Coach is still teaching us. One of his greatest lessons wasn't taught in a classroom, on a field, or in a locker room. It was lived every single day along Lois. For 56 years of marriage, Coach showed us what it truly means to invest your time wisely. He chose loyalty, he chose partnership, he chose love. Lois was his constant, his teammate, his greatest win. 56 years isn't just a number. It's a lifetime of moments, big and small, shared laughter, quiet sacrifices, challenges faced together, and a love that never wavered. I also want to share what Coach meant to me. I knew of him, but I didn't know him. I was just a young girl, fresh out of college, trying to find my way, and let's be honest, I was from the Middletown Valley, the arch rival school, a knight who always tried to slay the lion. And yet, Coach took me under his wing anyway. He taught me. I became the girls' varsity basketball coach my first year. Didn't know a thing. He said, well, I know a little man, that will be your assistant coach. And then we went on coaching trips to do X's and O's in the blue band to the trailer at the beach. I was there with Coach Abbott, Coach Miller, Coach Little, Coach Mummert, Coach Yeomans, and they snored. He guided me. He believed in me long before I believed in myself. For 45 years, he was there for me. In the good times, the celebrations and the parties at the Miller House after championship wins, which we would probably all get fired for today, and especially in the hard times. He wasn't just a mentor. He became a friend, a confidant, one of the 4 big brothers I never had. Some of the most meaningful lessons he taught me didn't happen in his office or in a gym. They happened on the phone, conversations with him, which I'm sure many of you had, while he was driving in his car. Again, he valued time. Driving to the beach, on the way to a basketball game, or headed to practice while there was time. Just conversations, but conversations that matter. Conversations that stayed with me, that I will carry for the rest of my life. And you also ask, when do I get my next pie? Coach taught us that time is meant to be used with purpose. Time to give, because generosity builds teams and families. Time to talk, because words can change a life. Time to tell stories, because stories keep people alive. And time to truly live, fully present, all hearts. Coach Miller's legacy will live forever, not just in wins or titles, but in the lives he shaped, the confidence he built, and the love he showed. His impact is still rippling outward. How many of us have relived stories over the past week, memories over the last week, and we've laughed? This, the ultimate butterfly effect. And before we leave today, I want to ask something of you. Please share your stories of Coach, especially the stories that include Lois and his beautiful family. Lois loves to scrapbook. And if you came yesterday, there was a book of every season of their lives. It took, I think, a trailer last night to get them all home. Let's send her our memories, our thoughts, our moments, so she can create something to hold on to, something to cherish, a book filled with love, laughter, and the life they built together. So today, we honor Coach the best way we know how, by valuing our time, by showing up for one another, and just look at this, it's awesome to see all the faces, by loving our families fiercely, just as he loved Lois, and by living each second like it matters, right up until the final buzzer sounds. because that's exactly how Coach would have wanted it played. Because look around you and smile. Feel the love in this room, the love of a man and his family, a love that is unending. I know that if love could have saved Dave that day, that he would live forever. Instead, he will live forever in all of our hearts. Thank you.
I know this is not a eulogy, Mrs. Miller, but in my line of work, I say this eulogy is easy because coaches are lived, and there's nothing you have to make up. It's hard because of what it means to me. Mother Lewis, Coach was your faithful and loving husband. Brian, he was your committed and devoted father. To Tina, he was your gracious father-in-law. To Bryce and Jordan, he was your proud grandfather. To his brothers, he was a dependable brother. To the Walkerville community, he was an influential and loyal person. To SCC, he was an outstanding and remarkable visionary. To Shippensburg, he was an exceptional mentor. To so many, he was a great coach and outstanding friend. He was that and so much more. But to me, Coach was my guy. My guy, I mean, I had the opportunity to experience all those qualities in our relationship. I met Coach Dave Miller at the age of 7 years old. Because I met Brian first. Met Brian in elementary school, and we got to be friends. I think the first time we met, we didn't get along. Somehow, some way, we became friends, and Brian became like a brother to me. And we started hanging out. Before you know it, we became family. I would go over to the Miller's house and spend the entire Saturday. And we would play basketball, Brian, and video games, and Miss Miller would cook lunch, and I stayed so long she would cook dinner also. I was over the house so much that my parents said, we're going to give you birth certificates to the Millers. And as we got older, I would go over to the house and Brian didn't have to be there. And I would just go over there and hang out all day. They trusted me so much that they would even leave the house and I would still be there when they came. And Coach Miller coached at Walkersville High School at the time, and Brian and I would go to practices and games when we were younger to learn how to play the lines away. Coach would have that gray Celica, and Miss Miller would have that red Celica. That's a marriage that made me have named it. I got the close personal look at how Coach coached, but more importantly, how he treated people. Coach Miller would do anything in the world for people. They didn't have to ask him to. I was fortunate to play for Coach Miller for 3 years. He coached me hard. I mean, real hard. I mean, real hard. And real hard. And I remember saying to him, Coach, why are you coaching me so hard? He said, because the great player you're going to be, you need to be coached hard. What I love about Coach, though, is this, that Coach coached you hard, whether you was the most talented player on the team or whether you was a 15th player on the team. Coach treated you the same whether you was the most talented player on the team or whether you was the 15th player on the team. I can attest that I wouldn't have the career I had if not been for Coach. Any Hall of Fame that I'm a part of is because of Coach. Coach was more than Coach to me. When I was in college and became ill in my junior year, I was in the hospital for a week. I looked up and there was Coach. I thought to myself that Coach came all the way down here to visit me, but Coach did that for everybody. One night my father passed away, I called Coach to let him know. Before I could hang up the phone, Coach was at my house. Stayed there all night. And over the years, our relationship changed. The older I got, I never called him Dave, David, or Mr. Miller. I called him Coach. He became my second father. It wasn't a life decision that I made where I didn't ask for his advice or counsel. Coach went to bed at midnight. Now I'm knocking on the door at 11 p.m. Now, Brian, this is the key because I probably told him I was coming at 8 p.m. We would talk and reminisce and discuss the future. When I went to play college basketball, Coach said, "You're going to be an excellent player." When I started coaching college basketball, Coach said, "You're going to be a great coach." When I left FCC to coach at Frederick High, I tried to be like Coach. Coach used to have a paper wrapped in his hand. I wrapped my paper in his hand because Coach Mel, I wanted to be like Coach. When I stopped coaching at Frederick High, Coach put me back to FCC. When I accepted the call to ministry, Coach said, "You're going to be an excellent minister." When I started officiating college basketball, Coach said, "You're going to be a really good official." When I got into the public office, Coach said, "You're going to be an outstanding public servant." No matter what I tried to do, Coach was always there to encourage me. Over the course of years, I called him, played golf with him, stayed at the beach house. Our conversations would start on the telephone. They would go like this: "So when you coming down to the beach house?" We went to dinner together. And all those years, Coach treated me with love. What I also found out is that Coach treated everyone the same, with love. I thought I was special, but Coach had a way of making everyone feel special. So when I thought about today, I thought about 3 things that we can take away from the life of Coach. One is show good sportsmanship. This means don't try to take shortcuts, get over on people, and get along with people. Coach treated everyone right. If you couldn't get along with Coach, then you were the problem. Number 2, be a good teammate. This means you can share your success with others. You don't take all the glory for yourself. Coach was everyone's biggest cheerleader and didn't mind giving or sharing. Like any great coach, Susan, Coach knew the importance of time. He maximized time. He appreciated time. And he was always on time. You may not have seen Coach for months or years, but it's as if time stood still, because Coach would always make time for you. And in one of our last conversations that we had, Coach said, "Derek, if something ever happens to me, I want you to do this service. But you got to promise me one thing." I said, "What's that, Coach?" He said, "You got to be on time." As I thought about that for a moment, I thought about the day that I don't want to miss this time, Miss Miller. But I miss him. So in this story, there was this young man who was a basketball player. And as he was a basketball player, he had a really bad first half. Coach Shimmy couldn't make a shot, couldn't guard anybody, turn the ball over, couldn't rebound, couldn't do nothing. All the fans who were in the stands were booing him, telling the coach to take him out the game, telling his teammates don't pass him the ball because he can't make a shot. As he walked off the court at halftime, some of the fans even started leaving. His father was still in the stands. His father went down to the locker room halftime and told his son, don't quit, keep playing. He said, don't quit, keep playing. Son came out for the second half, and one thing you know, Brother Kip, he made the first shot. And like any good player, coach fight, he made a second. And you know, when you start doing coach fight, you start calling the number here. And that whole half, he made all his shots, made about every rebound, every assist, all because his father told him, don't quit, keep playing. Mrs. Miller, I just come to tell you today, the coach is still whispering in your ears, don't quit, keep living. Brian, coach is still whispering in your ears, don't quit, keep living. Joy, coach is still whispering in her ears, don't quit, keep living. Tina, coach is whispering in your ears, don't quit, keep living. Bryce, coach is saying to us, don't quit, keep living. Coach Spike, coach is saying to you, don't quit, keep living. Susan, coach is saying, don't quit, keep living. Coach Mama, coach is saying, don't quit, keep living. Walkersville Community, coach is saying to us, don't quit, keep living. Former SCC press, coach is saying to us, don't quit, keep living. Family and friends, coach is saying to us, don't quit, keep living. Because that's what coach wants to do. Every now and again, a tear may shed from our eyes. Every now and again, we became hungry, angry, we may become upset. But coach is saying to us today, don't quit. Amen. We'll now ask the family, we will ask them to move to the rear of the back area. And you will be free to love on them, shake hands, hug on them. It's so appreciated. And I would also remind all of us that during this time, that today's not the end for them, this is just the beginning. That you would pray for them, that you would support them, that you would encourage them, and that you would help them and assist them in every way, because that's what Coach has done for all of us. And the least we can do is do the same for them. Oh. Oh. Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Hi, my name is Jeff Myers, and a little over, I guess, 4 or 5 days ago, Susan reached out to me and said, hey, can you put together a tribute to Dave? And I do a lot of sports video for the community and high school, and so obviously it was an honor to be able to do this. You know, the family helped with the photos, and you know, to capture truly a legend over so many years. There's so much content and so many incredible moments. The hardest part was getting it down to 5+ minutes, right? Which can't really do his life justice. But I think when you have great pictures, great moments, great memories, what makes the pictures move and speak is the volumes of music. So going back really to the early days of R&B and country and modern music. I tried to pull together something that I hope makes you all and Dave proud. So without further ado,